Welcome everybody to Geekvice episode 249, proving any vice with enough geek can become a virtue. My name's Morph. That man's Kip. Good evening, Kip.
Good evening.
Alright, we are back for another episode of Geekvice. Oh man, what the heck just happened? Your picture went like huge. Let's fix that.
Because I am huge.
You can't be that big. Come on. Like, that was weird. It was like all of a sudden it said, hey, I'm gonna just undo all the edits that I did to the image. There we go. Now we're fixed. Everything's back to normal. Kind of. Well, as normal can be with a Geek Vice episode. Alright, so this week let's start with some announcements. We gotta start with some announcements. Announcements being that, number one, first and foremost, the YouTube channel. Go search for Kip Morph on YouTube, or just go to our Facebook page. You can get all our YouTube stuff on Facebook, or you can jump right over to our channel directly from Facebook. That has some new videos up there, and it's going to have new videos on top of this episode that comes out every Tuesday on the YouTube channel. We'll also have 2 episodes of Geekvice Gaming going up on Mondays and Thursdays, every morning at 7 a.m. Every Monday and Thursday morning at 7 a.m. New episodes of Civilization 6 multiplayer with me and Brady will be on there. So that started yesterday, and will be going up again on this Thursday. Episode 1 was on Monday. Episode 2 was on Thursday. We will continue this for the near future. I have many things already scheduled and ready to go up, and Brady and I are still playing, so and him and I are actually having so much fun doing that we are talking about a couple of additional games that we might be doing some multiplayer playing of, some multiplayer video games. So we might have some more stuff that'll be on there too. So some more life on the YouTube channel.
Sweet.
Everybody loves YouTube channels.
They love them more when there's a hot chick on them, but they're just gonna have to deal.
Yeah, I don't have one of those.
Well, we're gonna tell your wife.
Well, she's not gonna be on the YouTube channel. She refuses to stand in front of a camera that's recording anything. But my kids also want to do some stuff, so I might do some recording, some video stuff with them, and put that up there too. So, but that is all I have. Do you have any announcements you want to make? Anything special out there?
No, my life is pretty boring. Yeah. I don't have any announcements.
Yeah, so, and I know that I was trying to think. You had sent me a message, and I forgot what the message was. That you're going to be out here. Like,
yeah, not next week, but the following.
Yeah, so we will either, we might be trying to record while he's in a hotel room, or maybe I'll try to bring in a special guest for that one. And then if his Wi-Fi works well in the hotel, he can join us. Otherwise, it'll just me and a special guest. I don't know yet, because we just started talking about that today. So, hey.
Yeah, and I just got that trip booked today, so.
Yeah, I get it.
Hot off the presses. I will be in Denver in 2 weeks.
You guys know more than the rest of us. Sometimes, like the way the last couple weeks have gone, I feel like other people know more about my life than I know of my life.
It's like living in a small town. People know what you did before you even do it.
Yeah, right? Oh, one other thing before we get started. I got to pimp my new shirt that I have here. And if you're on the podcast, you won't see it, but you can go over to the YouTube channel and check it out. It says "Never Forget," and it has a little Pong like screen underneath it. I thought it was super awesome. My wife made this for me, so It's really cool, and I like it. And maybe I'll even take a picture of it and put it up on the Facebook page because she has started her. She has got her. She's a very creative person anyway. Well, now she's getting to actually do creative stuff, making cool little T-shirts and hats and coffee mugs and things like that because she has a heat press and a vinyl cutter. So she is learning how to use these.
Nice.
So yeah, she's done some cool stuff for for herself and for some of the neighbors, some of her girlfriends. She did some stuff for the boys, and this is the first thing she did for me. So, and I thought it was awesome, so I had to wear it because I think it's cool, you know.
It is cool. And Pong was my first video game.
There you go. Yeah, um if it wasn't my first, it was pretty early on, but it wasn't the original Pong with the just like the console with the two paddles, like or
Yeah, mine
two
was Coleco, man.
yeah.
And either you had to sit in the right spot. If you were right-handed, you had to be left of the console, or you had to play with your left hand, which made, put you at a disadvantage because you
Oh,
had to use your offhand.
right.
So,
Mm.
those of you who did not have to struggle, it was real. It was real.
The
Playing
struggle
Pong
was real.
left-handed was not my jam.
I can believe that. I can believe that. So, all right. That's enough of the announcements. That's enough of the jibber jabber. This week, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about because we got two board games we're going to be talking about, and one of them is a new game that Kip is going to be unboxing for us. He's done a little bit of work to show off some of the stuff and talk about the mechanics of it. But before we get into that, we're going to start with my game because I've had it longer and I've played it more than Kip's played his game. So.
Fine, be that way.
So the game that I'm going to talk about was recommended by Bill from Prolific Games back in a past episode, and it is called Gizmos. Which is probably backwards for everybody else, but that's all good. Gizmos, super fun game. This is, let's see, little specs for it. It's done by Simon. It's 2 to 4 players. It says 14 plus. My 6-year-old plays this game, and he won. He actually won the very first time he played it. Beat the rest of us, and that was not by accident. Now I did have to help him because some of the strategy gets a little in depth in here, and so he's now 7. I'm gonna get in trouble. He's now 7. For my 7-year-old, he has a little bit of trouble with the constant strategy and trying to play things in certain orders. But for the most part, he can do it all on his own. It says it plays in 40 to 50 minutes. You are going to be spending a solid 40 to 50 minutes playing. That is setup is fairly quick, doesn't take long, and but it does when you first get this, it does require a little assembly. It gives you directions on how to assemble the game.
Do you have to
So
glue anything together?
you do not have to glue anything together. And the awesome part is you don't have to take very much of it apart. You take one piece of this thing apart when you put it away, but it all fits in the box. The box is specifically set up to be able to handle this. But this right here is what you're building. And this is the energy dispenser. So we'll get into that here in just a couple minutes. But so basically the way this game works is you are I'll call you an inventor, and you are spending energy to build certain add certain gizmos to your machine, to your process to build certain gizmos. And each thing that you build or each action that you take causes different other reactions to happen, and can cause chain reactions to help you collect more energy, help you build more stuff, get you victory points. And the person that has the most victory points at the end wins. Pretty simple. The complexity for this thing really comes in the strategy and the replayability is in the constant flux of everything that's going on, which means that no two games are going to be the same. There are enough different gizmos that get played that allow you to keep things fresh and different. We played this game probably 2 or 3 times in a week, and each game was a little different. Each person, the way people won was different, and the scores were completely different. So it's a lot of fun and does not get boring after multiple plays over and over again. So the way you play this game is you start off with this little board here in front of you, which is kind of your, I think they call it your inventor, your dashboard is what they call it, your dashboard. And so your player dashboard has 6 sections on it. One section is for upgrades, which is the number of gizmos that you can archive. It has to do with the amount of research you can do and the amount of energy you can hold at one time. You can upgrade that to increase those numbers as you go on by building different gizmos. You have converters, which change gizmos from one type of energy to another, which all the energy is colored marbles. So colored marbles are cool. Comes in a nice bag. You have, let's see, how many colors here? 4 different colors. Blue, yellow, black, and red. And they're all named something specific.
Yellow stars, green clovers.
Kinda, yeah.
Wrong game.
No, yeah, that's Lucky Charms, man. Sorry.
I get so confused.
So red is heat, yellow is electric, blue is atomic, and black is battery. So
surprised blue is atomic. Figured that'd be green.
Yeah, maybe green was too hard of a color to master in here. The marbles are really kind of cool though, because I have like they have like little bubbles inside the marbles. And so even if you are colorblind, you could actually tell by the amount of bubbles and the shapes of the bubbles that are inside there. Because the blue ones have a whole bunch of little ones. The yellow ones have fewer bigger bubbles in it. Like it's kind of interesting. The black ones are solid black. You can't see any bubbles at all. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of interesting. Not
Braille for marbles. I like it.
And maybe
it's not really Braille.
Yeah, maybe somebody who is actually colorblind looks at this and goes, "That doesn't help at all. You're an idiot." I'm not colorblind, so I thought it was cool.
I'm not aware of being colorblind, but yeah.
Right. So back to your dashboard. We talked about upgrades. We talked about converters. The 4 other sections that are there are your actions that you can actually perform. And each turn you can perform one action. You can file, you can pick, you can build, or you can research. If you file a gizmo, I guess we should talk about the gizmos. You take a gizmo from the active pile, or you can and place it into your archive area. That is filing a gizmo. Just basically takes it away from everybody else so no one else can steal it, and you just kind of keep it off to your side. Your upgrades tells you how many of those you can have, how many gizmos you can have in your archives. Pick allows you to pick a marble from the little tray that all comes out here. And if I wanted to take the risk of spilling marbles everywhere, I would put them in here. But you put all the marbles inside this contraption that you built, and they roll down and form a nice little line down here. So if you pick one, you get to pick one from that line. If you build, your build action allows you to build a gizmo from either the pool of gizmos in the middle of the table or from your archive, either one. And research allows you to draw face down gizmos and allows you to pick one of them to build or to file away. You can research and not keep anything, but that's kind of a waste of a turn. But it's happened a couple times for, kind of that reason. So those are kind of your actions. Now the gizmos this is the part that I think are actually really cool. These gizmos are awesome. They don't have a name, but they have 3 different levels. You have level 1, you have level 2, and you have level 3.
Amazing.
I know. Right? Who would have thought they'd be 1, 2, and 3? But the higher the level, the more it costs to build, the more energy it costs to build. So level 1s all cost 1 energy to build, level 2s are 2 and 3, level 3s are 4 through 7. So these little gizmos have a cost, a type of energy right here. The red is for fire or the heat, which is the red marble, and it costs 1 energy to build. It also includes a victory point, which is up here in the corner, and this is the action at which this gizmo would go in your player dashboard. And here's where the fun part comes, is you stack, as you build these gizmos, they all stack together. So let's see if I can find, if I was smart, I would have laid some of these out to kind of go together. But I didn't. Here's a couple of them that'll work that are both level 1. So the other part of these gizmos that I didn't tell you about is this part here in the middle. This part at the top here tells you that if you pick a red energy, if you pick a heat energy, you get to do this little thing right here, which there's a nice key that they give you, a 1-page key for all the different things that can happen on these gizmos. But this one particularly is you get to draw a random energy. And I picked 2 of them that have that for my example here. Here's where the game becomes more complicated and really fun. So in this idea right here, you could have both of these in your pick dashboard. So if you picked a marble, if you picked a red one, according to this thing, you get to pick a random. If you pick a yellow one, you get to pick a random. So you can stack these things to where if you picked a red one, you grab your red energy, you add it to your energy pool. You get to pick a random one. You pick a random one. Let's say you picked a yellow one out of there. Well, according to this card, you would then you picked a yellow one, you get to pick another random one. So now in one turn, you are drawing 1 energy turned into you getting 1, 2, 3, 3 different energy.
Nice. I like stacking like that.
Right. So that's where this game can get really fun and can really steamroll as you watch these things, to where maybe you file something. Well, because you filed something, you get to pick from the energy row, and then you pick something from the energy row that then from your pick action allows you to do something else. Like maybe some of them are even like if you pick a certain thing, then you can then you can file another gizmo, or that you can build something of a certain color. It is the stacking ability in this game is so fun, and the chain reactions that can happen through these in some of the upper level cards is absolutely it's just so much fun for me. I love it. It gets to the point where, I mean, you have to really be, you don't have to, but it's very helpful to be thinking about what you're really trying to go for, and um, are you putting yourself in a position where you're not helping yourself, where you need a specific color to build a card, but you're not getting the chain reaction, so you're not doing enough each turn. You want to be doing as much as you possibly can. So it's just it's a lot. It is a lot of fun. So this game keeps going around, and each person they can only do one action, but because of the chain reactions, they're able to do so much more on their turns. So everybody keeps going around. You keep building gizmos. You keep collecting little victory points, which each gizmo that you build is worth a victory point. But then some of the gizmos, like this card here, says that if you build something from an archive, you get 2 victory points. So if you archive a gizmo and then on your next turn you build it, you get 2 little victory points, which is just little tokens with stars on them, almost like first place medals. They're really kind of fun, and those are ways to really like brag, because you have those sitting above your dashboard, showing off to everybody else how many victory points you have that they might not. That just kind of shows off. Hey, I got all these points. It really starts. It's fun watching that put the pressure on other people to try to build things that might not. They try to steal stuff from you so that you're not building them. It's I got my oldest boy like running in circles one game because I was building certain things, and he's like, wait, no, I wanted that. Oh man, you're gonna have. And I had like 3 or 4 victory points sitting in front of me. He had way more victory points in the number of gizmos he had built, but because I had these things sitting in front of me, it made him think that I was winning, and it's quite entertaining to watch um, his brain just start spinning and send him off down a rabbit hole. Um, and I say this because he's kicked my ass in this game a couple times. Um, and he's beaten several of his friends in this game too. He's very good at this.
He's a shark.
Yeah, this game is this game can go, and like I said, it says 40 to 50 minutes. You're going to be playing for a while, because the way you win this game is to, one, have enough victory points, but the way you start the end game for it is you need either a total of 16 gizmos in your dashboard that you've built. So 16 different gizmo cards that you have built, or you have 4 of the level 3 gizmos built. And now you say, oh, well, that wouldn't be that hard. That couldn't make those games last very long. Getting 4 level 3 gizmos is a lot harder than it sounds. You really need, being that you need 4 to 7 of a particular, of one type of energy to build these. Collecting that much can be difficult. It does not happen. You have to really get a good stack going, get a good chain reaction in order to collect enough of what you need. So so that actually takes a little while. Once somebody has built their 16th gizmo, or their fourth level 3, the end game immediately starts. And the end game is very interesting, and it's something that requires some thought if you're really trying to screw somebody over. Because depending on who builds that last gizmo or starts the end game depends on how many turns everyone else gets. If the first player, which is designated by a different color dashboard and can be picked randomly at the start of the game, if the first player starts the end game, then everybody gets one more turn. If the last player starts the end game, the game ends immediately. So everyone gets the same number of turns. It's kind of like, innings in baseball, Home team always gets that ninth inning, gets that last at bat.
Yeah.
So if it's the second person that does it, the first player has already had their turn and might have been planning to do something. But if the next player then starts the end game, that first player never goes.
Yeah, I play a lot of games. It seems to be a new, well, not new, but it seems to be a popular mechanic, a way to end a game, especially on engine builders and worker placements.
Yeah, it's and it has come back to bite some people. Well, it bit me playing this game because I was like, I was kind of, what was it? I think I was second, and the third person played the last one and started the end game, and I didn't get to go again. And I had my turn before. I could have built, I could have started a bigger chain reaction, but I didn't because I was trying to make it even bigger for the next turn, and I didn't get a next turn, and that was painful. And I ended up losing the game because I had too many victory points sitting in my archive that I could have built.
Because you got greedy.
Turn. Yeah, exactly. So it's a really cool. I like that mechanic. I like that idea, and it makes, especially when you're playing with a family, and you've got a couple of kids. We've fudged the rules a little bit on some of that so that because I feel bad for my youngest one when he had this big plan and he's like, oh, what, I don't get to do that now because you because you ended the game already? That's not fair. So sometimes we bend that rule a little bit and maybe give everybody one more turn, but um, it's a very good way to end the game. So the couple other things that I wanted to throw out there that I really like in this is this idea of converters. And I mentioned that those convert one type of energy to the next. You start out the game with no converters. And then you can get converters like this that are really helpful. This takes one yellow energy and turns it into two. You can get converters that also change the color of them completely, or that allow you to change two things. Like this one changes changes one blue into any color and a second blue into any color. So really, you can stack some of these things in an incredible way to make it really fun. You take that blue into any color, so you have one blue marble, but you really need two yellows to build something. You can use one blue marble, turn it into a yellow, then you have a converter that takes one yellow into two yellows. Now all of a sudden, for one blue marble, you can build a gizmo that costs 2 yellow energy.
I like it.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. And so many different options. And then the upgrades. This is an example of an upgrade for it that allows you, the first thing here is how many energy you can hold. So this adds +2 to the maximum energy that you can hold. This one is the number of files in your gizmos in your archive you can have, so it adds +2. And this says +2 to your research. So that's how many cards you can draw from the face down pile of gizmos in the middle of the board to look through and pick from. So this Bill was right. This game is amazing. This game is a ton of fun. It is so much fun, and the one-page cheat sheet of the different upgrades and the different lists of effects it's great. It's super handy to have, just sitting next to you while you're playing, just so that you can figure out what you need. Even has a chain reaction example for you on that page, so that even a new person can sit down and pick this up really easy. This game is so easy to teach somebody to play. It's the perfect game. There's some games that you have to like explain all the rules to them before you start playing. This is the type of game that you can just start playing and explain the rules as you go, because as you start playing, it just clicks. It makes sense. It's very simple, and it's the strategy that can be complex and adds that extra layer to it. So
I like games that are easy to teach like that because
yeah,
we're always unveiling a game that nobody's played, and it really adds time to playing a game.
yeah, and this is a game. I mean, I probably made it sound more complicated than what it is, but the first time Reese and I played this game, we without probably within 5 minutes of just kind of following, like, hey, you have one action, here's your actions, here how the chain reactions work. It was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Okay. And then it's just off and running. 5 minutes of trying to figure it out, and then we're playing. And that was the very first time. Now we can sit
Nice.
down, and the setup is super quick, and the takedown is super quick. That was the one thing I wanted to show before we wrap this up. This little contraption here to put it away. All you have to do is pull off the top that holds the marbles, so that it looks like this, and it fits right in the box just like this. And this thing just folds up and sits right on top of it.
Nice.
All of it fits inside the box with no problems, no glue, nothing putting it together at all. It's just, cardboard pieces that all fit together, and they stay together forever. And we have gotten it in and out of the box. My kids have played this game without any adult supervision, and they have not torn it up yet, so it is sturdy, and that is impressive because my kids tear up everything. So
We got to come up with some sort of certification for, that. It's like it meets the grubby hand seal of approval or something.
right? That's impressive, because you've had some games where you're like, oh, no, 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 don't touch this. Oh, well, I don't know. My perfect example for that is Mice and Mystics. I love Mice and Mystics. Very fun game to play. But I've already got, I think, 2 broken miniatures from my kids and them not paying attention to what they're doing and just breaking the miniatures. It's like, what are you doing? Like, don't take it and put it between your fingers and smash it. Like, why? This game, they have not done that to. So, and they've played it a lot more without my supervision than Mice and Mystics. So, yeah. 2 thumbs up for Gizmos. Thanks, Bill, for throwing that out there. I'm glad you suggested it, because it has been a big hit, and we have played this game at one point during the snowy times here where we were missing a lot of school. And couldn't go to practices, sports and stuff were canceled. I am pretty sure we played this in a 7-day period. I think we played it 9 times in 7 days.
Dang.
So, yeah.
The last
between
time I played that many games in a short period of time, I was at Gen Con.
right. Yeah, it was. I mean, this game has been a huge hit in this house, much bigger than I anticipated, and we almost get bummed when there's an evening where we don't get the game out. So
That's a good sign.
sure is, sure it is. That's enough. I done enough talking. Your turn, Kip.
My turn. Okay, so my game came out in October of 2018, I believe. And it is called Architects of the West Kingdom. West Kingdom, if I could speak. And it's a game for 1 to 5 players. It recommends as ages 12 and above. And it says it takes 60 to 80 minutes to play. I'll believe it when I see a game only taking 60 minutes, but we'll find out. With my gaming crew, it's definitely going to take longer, I think, but we'll see. So what Architects of the West Kingdom actually is a modified worker placement game. This game is by Renegade Game Studios. They're the publisher. And if you watch any of their videos, they call it a worker investment game. So keep that in mind as I talk. What you are is you're an architect during it actually says, the Carolingian Empire, circa 850 AD. So wherever that was, there you are.
Where's our history buffs?
Yeah, exactly. And if I mispronounced it, I don't feel bad about it. So you're an architect trying to impress the king by your ability to build stuff. And how you build stuff is you've got a big board with different locations to put your workers on, just like any other worker placement game. And you have cards that have buildings that you're trying to build. And in order to build, you not only have to have the resources, you have to have the skill. So there's another layer to this game, which is you have to hire apprentices who have the certain skill that you need to build the buildings that you build.
Okay.
So there's that. So you can't do it by yourself. You need an apprentice. The game comes with 20 workers for each architect, which I found pretty fascinating because usually you get like 5 or 6, and you start the game with like 4,
Yeah.
3 or 4, and then you have to add to them as you get further along in the game, earn money and stuff like that. You train more workers. And that's because most worker placement games are done in like phases. Like viticulture, you have so many workers and you have 4 seasons of a year. And in 2 seasons, you place workers, summer and winter. And you place or spring and fall, whichever one. You place your workers in the spring. You hold a couple back so you can play them in the fall. And then at the beginning of a new year, you retrieve your workers and you do it again. In Architects of the West Kingdom, you play your meeples on the board and they stay there. Oh. So that's why you have 20.
Okay.
So that's why I think they call it a worker. One of the reasons they call it a worker investment game.
Yeah.
Another thing I like about the worker placement mechanic is, and this kind of snowballs a little bit, but there are certain spots on the board that's a bigger oval to put your meeples in, and those spaces are unlimited. And they also stack. So there's spots on the board, say like, I'll just get a name of one. the quarry, where you can get stone. You get stone per every meeple you place there. So the first time you put a meeple there, you get 1 stone. The second time you place a meeple there with, now you have 2, you get another 2. So now you have 3. And then when you place your third one, you get 3. Now you have 6, and it can stack on you.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, like an
But
exponential increase.
yeah, the coolest part of that though is the take that action that you can do if you know somebody is stacking up because they need a bunch of stone or stacking up to get a bunch of wood. You can go to a spot on the board. See if I can find it. This board is kind of big. Town center, I believe. Yeah. And you can kidnap their workers, their meeples, and put them on your player board.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
then you can take their workers to jail and get reward money.
Oh, that's funny.
And then the person whose meeples are in jail can go and retrieve them, and that's the only way you really get your people back to place again. So it's kind of a take that, but I also did you a favor kind of a move. Yeah, I kidnapped your guys and I took them to jail, but now you can get them back.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not all bad to have your players kidnapped. It's more of a, I used your people to earn money and cause you to use a turn to get them back.
Right. Yeah, so you could almost cost somebody a couple turns worth of whatever they were trying to stack and really hamstring them by, you know, taking one of those, putting them on your board, and then putting them in. Is there a limit to how long you can keep them on your board before you put them in jail? Is it like?
I don't think so. I didn't see anything about that. Maybe there is. I'll have to
Yeah, because that would
do a
be
little more reading.
that could
That's
be
another thing about this game that's pretty cool. The rule book is 20 pages, which sounds like a lot, but
yeah.
it's big text, lots of pictures, so not a ton of words to get through.
I like big
There's
pictures.
Yeah, there's a lot of examples. Like they tell you a rule, they'll give you an example.
I like that. I really like that.
Yeah, me too. So if I tell you it's 20 pages, the rule book isn't huge. It's,
Yeah.
I don't know, 8 by 8.
There you
It's
go.
not huge. Um, so 20 pages doesn't take you that long to get through. It's not that hard of a game to teach. The only other thing is there's another rule book size thing, but it's just a explanation of all the apprentices' abilities and building effects. So when you build
Oh,
a
cool.
building, there's also different effects that you get to take advantage of.
Right.
There's also a track on the board called the virtue track. And the higher the number you are, the more virtuous you are. The lower the number, the less virtuous you are. And that's another interesting mechanic that they did because there's a sweet spot in the middle. I should have just left this open. But so the virtue track goes from 0 to 14. There's a sweet spot in the middle, which is 6 through 9.
Okay.
And anything below a 6, you are, I guess, very, very naughty person, and you don't, you lose, I guess, victory points.
Oh.
But you pay less taxes. So there's give and take. And you
Okay.
can't build, I think. I think that's the other thing is you can't build a building when your virtue is bad.
Gotcha.
When your virtue is higher than 9, so 10 through 14, you get the victory points and all that stuff. You still have to pay the normal amount of taxes, so you don't get a break there. But you can't do any of the the bad stuff, like go to the black market.
Mm.
Because you're too virtuous, I guess, for the seedy side of the village. Um, so, like I said, there's this sweet spot from 6 to 9 virtue that,
You can kind of do a little bit of both.
yeah, you can do everything. The whole
Yeah.
board is open to you.
So can you
Uh,
how do you affect your virtue? Does that fluctuate? Can that fluctuate a lot or
there's different things like building certain buildings will give you virtue. I think there's spots on the board, maybe. Um,
are there spots that'll take it away?
there are spots that will take it away, like going to the black market.
Gotcha.
Um, going to the guardhouse and turning people's meeples in,
Oh, okay.
or getting them back. I can't tell. I need to look that up. So there's ways to lower your virtue. There's ways to raise your virtue. You just have to decide, is using the entire board important to you? Are you going to be holier than thou and never go to the black market and do the cool stuff there? Are you going to throw caution to the wind so you don't have to pay taxes? You could go that route. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, there's certain spots that when you pay money, the money is in two colors. There's kind of a copper color and then like a darker gray color. The ones that are the copper color, that goes to the tax stand and you put the coins in the tax. The other two just go in the bank, and so it costs you. So like at the workshop, it would cost you 4 coin. 2 of the coins go in the tax stand, the other 2 go in the bank.
Okay.
You can go to the tax stand and basically rob it and lose 2 virtue, but you get some money. So
Interesting.
that's all good.
Yeah, it sounds like a really cool way of having a lot of different strategy mechanics and ideas within the same game. And
Yeah.
I really like the idea of it being I like the worker investment idea to where you place a worker and it's a long-term placement. Like you're putting him there because you're not because you want something this turn. You want to put him there because he's going to be beneficial to you for the game. I like that
Yeah.
idea.
But you already want to use him to stack so you can get more resources.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And once you build a building, there's an area called the guild hall, and you have to pay a worker. So you go to the guild hall, you build. That worker never leaves the guild hall. That
Mm,
is a permanent spot now for your worker, and it's also the end game track. So there's so many spaces depending on how many people are playing. Once they're all filled, that triggers the end game. Everybody gets one more turn, and then whoever has the most victory points wins.
interesting.
So mostly, I think just learning what all the spots on the board do is
Mm-hmm.
probably the biggest learning curve to the game.
Sure.
But if you've played worker placement games, that won't take too terribly long because you'll look at the board and go, I know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
There's just
Right.
a little bit of nuances of like the virtue track and things like that, and being able to kidnap and
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff. So I don't think there's a huge learning curve to this game, like I said, but if you are playing with somebody who's never played a worker placement game before, they may have a little bit of a curve to deal with.
Sure.
Uh, the game's artwork is really cool. The box that it comes in is probably only 3/4 of the size of a normal game box.
Oh wow.
So it's not even the full size full-size box, like a Battlestar Galactica box or something like that.
Right.
It's like 3/4 of that size. So it's not a huge shelf space resident.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. The components are nice. The cards are made with good card stock. There's not a ton of fiddliness to this game. There are worker placement games like Lords of Waterdeep and stuff like that that seems to have a lot of pieces. You're always constantly moving around and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
This one really doesn't have that. Yeah, you have 20 workers. Yeah, there's cards with apprentices and buildings and stuff like that, but it's not like refreshing constantly and things like that. It's just they're there, you play with them, and then when
Yeah.
you're done, you put it all back together and put it in the box, which it all fits nicely in the box. One of the things I did really like when I unboxed it is a lot of times you'll get these games and all of the components are in one great big bag like this one is, and then you have to separate them out and put them in bags after the fact. This one, yeah, all the components are in a big bag, but inside the big bag, each set of components is in its own little bag and they're already separated for you.
Oh, that's nice.
So everything you need as the yellow player is in this bag with all the yellow components in it, and you just pass those out. That
Yeah,
person has what they need. All the resources are in their own bags. I really liked that.
I like that idea too, because it's, I don't know what's more frustrating when you're like, oh yeah, let's play this game, and you go get it out and you're like, oh, I gotta sort through all these pieces again.
And then you get everything bagged, and you go to put it back in the box, and it doesn't quite fit.
Yeah. Yeah, because now
Yeah,
you've put everything in their own bags and they don't quite fit where you want them to. Yep.
yeah. The only thing I really had to do opening this up was punch the coins out.
There
And
you
then
go.
there's plenty of bags. In fact, I've got leftover bags. So I punched the coins out, unsleeved the cards, not sleeved, but took the shrink wrap off the cards. I
Yeah.
didn't want to put rubber bands on them. There was extra bags, so I just put the cards in a bag. So,
That's
and
fair.
then the tray inside the game box fits the cards separate from the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
It all fits back in there nice, and you can actually put the thing together and close the lid, and it goes all the way down.
That's awesome.
I know it's a novel concept, but it's true.
But it's a concept that sometimes gets missed. I mean, I've got we've got a couple games here that once I've put everything in their bag, like once I put them in separate bags and kind of tried to fit them back in the box, they didn't quite fit right, and it became cumbersome, and like, and if the box doesn't close all the way down, then we store all our games where we don't have as much. I don't have a full bookshelf to be able to do it in, so we've turned a closet and we have a couple shelves in our closet, and so they can only hold so many, and so we hold them vertically. We hold as many of the games as we can vertically because we can hold more of them in there. It's easier to pull them out. The kids can pull them out without spilling everything. But when the box lid doesn't close all the way, it it doesn't fit in there well, and when the kids go to pull stuff out, if that box lid comes off, it's it's a disaster.
I
And
also feel like it damages the box.
yeah, yeah, you
Like,
kind of feel like you're having to, like, you're bending the box to get it in there. Yeah,
yeah,
I know what
yeah.
you mean.
So it fits. Yay for them. I'm glad they did it this way. When I got this game, you can also buy an add-on that is the metal coins. If you
Mm,
don't want the cardboard coins, it was like $20 on Amazon for the metal coins. So they do offer that.
that's
I did
cool.
not go that route. So that's nice. Renegade Games has another. Let's see if I can look it up really quick. Um, Another series of games out they're based on Vikings, and of course, I'm not finding anything right away, so I sound like an idiot. But I think it's like called North something or other. Yeah, I suck at this. But though that is a trilogy, and when watching the videos on this, they said, yeah, Raiders of the North Sea was a trilogy.
Okay.
So there's like Raiders of the North Sea, Shipwrights of the North Sea, and Explorers of the North Sea. They said on the video for this game that this is also going to be part of a trilogy, and this is the first one. So I'm
Oh, interesting.
pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I don't know how well it works. I haven't played any of the North Sea trilogy. If anybody has, you can tell me if the trilogy works or if it's just the same game reboxed. I don't know. But it'd
Yeah.
be interesting to find out.
Yeah,
But
that's really kind of curious. I mean, I've never played a game like that before. That's kind of a neat idea, though.
yeah, and I don't know. I'm going to say if you like worker placement games, this game will be for you. Um, if you're not a big fan of worker placement games, kind of iffy because it's not what I call a traditional worker placement game, but it
Right.
still is a worker placement game. So if you're not into worker placement games, maybe you want to find somebody with a copy and play it before you spend any money.
Yeah.
Um, solid artwork, solid components, $40 price range, not bad
Mm-hmm.
for a new game, less than 6 months old, really. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I love worker placement games, so this is right in the wheelhouse. So, for me, it's a 2 thumbs up game.
Very cool. Yeah,
Plus,
I kind of want to
the
give it a
king you're
shot.
trying to impress on the box is very angry looking. Look at
Yeah.
that face. Ooh.
Yeah.
So,
The artwork on that box looks really cool. I like that.
yeah, and the board is very cool as well. You can tell what's going on. The key to every spot is labeled well enough that you really don't have to look at the rules completely to see what the hell is going on. You can usually tell, hey, one worker and I get one of these, two workers I get two of these, or whatever,
Yeah.
or I get to take two actions.
Yeah, that's
It's
really
well
cool.
done, well thought out. Um, yeah, I
I
can't
like
wait to
it.
get it to the table more. So
Yeah. Very cool. So there you go, guys. There's two games that are two thumbs up. You got Architects of the West Kingdom from Kip. You got Gizmos from me. Um, and after last episode of going on so long, we're gonna wrap this up here before we keep rambling on longer and longer. And we have multiple episodes in the hour and a half long range. So if you want more information about these, go check the show notes. We've got links to the Board Game Geek sites for each of these games. Or you can always email us if you want. If you've got a specific question that you want to ask, or something that you want a little clarified before you go and purchase the game yourself, just send us an email. Okay, email as geekvice@gmail.com. We'll be
yeah, and then
happy to answer you.
as I'm playing this game, I will take photos and get those on the Facebook page,
There
so
you
you can
go.
actually see what this game looks like in action.
Yeah, and I go and play these games, and I'm like, oh, I get done, and I'm like, I should have taken pictures to put on Facebook, but the game's already put away. So I'm gonna try to do better about taking more pictures of us playing games. So
Well, the people I game with are so used to it now that we'll get partway through the game and they're like, "Don't you need to take a picture?" It's like, "Yeah, I probably do." Yeah, thanks for the reminder.
that's awesome. That is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna get to a point. My kids were down here when I was getting stuff set up and getting the camera and everything all set up for this, and they were like, "Oh, we want to be on the show. We want to be on the show." I'm like, "Okay, well, at some point, I'm gonna end up. I'm gonna try to get my setup to where we can record us playing a game and then go from there. So get them involved. So
That works.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right, everybody. So with that, you guys can check out our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. You can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekvice. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow that man over there at Kip Killigan. You can follow me at Geekvice. And you can also go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Two ways to find the channel. Two easiest ways. One, go to YouTube and search for Kip Morph. We'll be the first one that pops up. There's no other Kip and Morph anywhere on YouTube. Or you can go to our Facebook page and you can go click on the YouTube channel or the YouTube thing over on the left-hand side menu, and it'll
It's
take
called
you
a link, by the way.
link
Just thought you would know.
the YouTube link, and that'll take you to a whole list on our Facebook page of all the different videos that we have on YouTube. But it'll also give you a button up there. You can subscribe straight from Facebook to our YouTube channel, which is kind of slick. Or you can also click to go directly to the YouTube channel itself. Two easy ways to get there. Link or search for Kip Morph. Alright, and of course, as always, you can email us at geekvice@gmail.com. Thanks everyone for listening to our ramblings, and we will see you next time.
Later.
This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.